All right, guys, I told you I had a Huey, well, partial custody of one anyways, and it's just a shell of the vehicle. But I wanted to look at the panels a little bit up close with you so we could take a look at them. And, photographs and videos usually don't kind of show these things off very well. But they're very thin aluminum, and I mean very thin. You can see there's not much going on there, but it is rather interesting to, visit these kinds of vehicles at least and check them out, because there's a lot of just cool stuff to think about, when you're looking at them up close and personal anyways, right? So you just see. Now check this out, these little guys here. So like in a blueprint you wouldn't know what these are, but check it out, you can just pop them, right? And there we go. So now we got some more stuff to look at in here possibly, right? Of course this is an old vehicle, but I think you get the idea. So I'll just close it back up. And that is it, guys. So that's all I wanted to show you. If it focuses again, it'd be nice. There we go. Yeah, very intricately layered. They're not as, simple as you probably thought they were. All right, so now we got that out of the way, we're going to look at some still photos. Just various random things I've taken photos of over the years. And so starting off with some little extra of the Huey there, but we're going to take a look at the Warbirds Museum in Port Canaveral, Florida. And I got to walk around there and look at some of their aircraft. And a lot of these aircraft are still flying, surprisingly, or they're being restored so that hopefully they can fly in like air shows and whatnot. Be like old Red Baron style aircraft there from World War I and the World War II aircraft, and some more modern stuff will be coming up as well. Definitely fun to look at though, and so this is the kind of stuff that usually inspires me for doing 3D in general. Vehicles, aircraft, military equipment. It's something I focused on heavily for a very long time, and it's just when you start looking at the older stuff there, you realize these vehicles are not perfect. Like when you think about modeling something like this, it's very easy to start trying to do things too perfect, and you don't realize how much wear and tear they get, especially like the vehicles, like the aircraft on aircraft carriers, or the older ones. The frames just become stressed, the paneling becomes warped, it's got little lumps and bulges and everything going on in the surfaces there, and it's not perfect reflections. And really, this is probably a lot of the stuff you're missing in your 3D modeling, is not understanding that like there's just small imperfections everywhere on these things. And the paint fades and it gets weathered by the sun, so solar weathering and all that. Looking at this DARPA vehicle, and you'll see a lot of these little like access panels. They share very similar things to that Huey as well. So just little buttons that you can push, open panels, all that fun stuff. So back of an F4 there, and these intruders, these things look really cool to me still. I just really like the design of them. It's a lot of fun to look at. And so, the paint on these a lot of times is meant to cover up all the small little cracks and crevices, so that way they're more aerodynamic. It's kind of interesting. Aircraft maintenance guys, when they're painting the vehicles, they're not your typical paint job for like a car, a little bit different. Inside of the cockpit there, that was, really, you could spend all day in here just wandering around, looking at all the different little sections of the aircraft, and realize that it's not like what you see in video games, right? It's definitely, there's a lot more to it. Like the F-14, for example, just a lot of detail all over the F-14 there. Really cool little aspects of it to kind of soak in, I guess, if you would. So yeah, we're just going to keep looking at just, a few more various photos here. We're going to get to some older photos that I took a long time ago. I don't even know how they're going to look in this video by the time I render it out. So But we're going to take a look at a couple photos of a World War II sub and an LCAC, of all things, from an air show. You see the Navy dive team demonstrators. LCAC's kind of cool when that thing pulls up on a beach, man. It certainly is like a dust storm of just sand blasted or whatever. Hopefully I'll get another camera here at some point and I'll be able to do a little bit more photography of just random military stuff. But for now, this is pretty much all I got. A few more that I didn't put in here, but nothing too special really. Just fun stuff, really. You can find a lot of this on Google anyways. You don't necessarily go take photos of it, but it does give you a different impression when you're actually visiting something like that. You know, just something as simple as the birds crapping on the deck of a World War II sub. Kind of interesting thing you could add to your props in games and things like that, right? You'll actually see that pulled off occasionally in some games. So anyways, that's it for this one. Kind of checked it all out, and I'll check you out the next one, all right? See you then.